Hey, welcome to the Two Song Movies podcast. I'm Cam,
I'm Luke.
and we are finally without a guest. It's the it's the
It's the first time in like a month and a half straight that we have not had a guest to introduce. It's like so quiet in here now. Like,
man. It was fun though. We had a cool run. Yeah, this week we just needed a break. It was just we need to get back to the basics. And man, that was a long time.
it really was.
We had Emery, then we had RJ and Olivia,
Brooke was on there.
Brooke. That whole October.
The entirety of October was just straight guests for the Halloween stuff.
Gosh, man. Yeah. So that was I think that was 5 episodes straight. I don't know, but we're back to the original host. So yeah, and today we were talking about the 2000 film Gladiator. In lieu of Gladiator 2 coming out. This week was Luke's pick. I know you guys. If you don't know how this works, we'll switch off who picks a movie each week. But we have it. If we have a guest, we let them pick. But we've had
And guests.
keep picking. So I was like, yeah, Luke, you just pick this one. I don't really care. So he wants to talk about Gladiator because the next one's coming out next month. Or not even next month, like next
It's
week.
on Friday. I am watching it Thursday night.
Yeah, I probably won't be watching it. Not because this one's bad. I don't know. I didn't have interest before.
If you're curious on my thoughts, you can check out my letterbox like later Thursday night or check Nerdism probably sometime next week.
What is nerdism? I don't think you've
My
ever.
review blog thing. I mean, I mentioned it at like the first episode, I think.
I know,
briefly, but
For
like,
new people that don't know, talk about nerdism.
it's just a silly little goofy blog. It's just mostly my reviews for movies that don't get put either here on Two Dudes or in the Den. So if there's a movie that comes out and I happen to be watching it, you'll probably find it there.
Yeah, so go read his junk. That's rude. Not his junk. Go read his stuff.
It's not great, but it's getting better as time goes on.
Everything gets better as time goes on. But we're talking about the 2000 film, the historical war film, Gladiator.
The historical drama, if you will.
Yeah, it stars Russell Crowe, Joaquin Phoenix, Connie Nielsen, Oliver Reed, and Richard Harris. Excuse me, I'm pronouncing it wrong. Jimon Hansu?
I think that's how you pronounce it.
I don't know. Nonetheless, I'll try to keep it short with the plots about because there's a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah.
Just to keep it, I'll try to keep it brief. Russell Crowe, he is a soldier,
It's like a war general.
and he wins a war, and then he's trying to go home to his family, and then stuff happens, and he gets captured by slave traders, and and then he gets put into this realm where there's 150 days, 150 or 130. It was like 150.
I think.
I think of just like fighting. So he has to like fight his way back to civilization and freedom
Yeah.
amongst other people
As a gladiator.
as a gladiator. But
And in case you aren't aware, gladiators are like ancient Romans that are historically typically prisoners of war, but they would be sent into like the Colosseum or other Colosseums, and they would just partake in random games and just try to kill each other for Roman entertainment. I think the one that's like most well known is just the standard go swing at him with a sword and go get him kind of thing. But
when they're
yeah,
yeah.
but they did a bunch of other games. There's one that's shown in trailer shots for the second one where they would fill the Colosseum with water and they would put legitimate ships inside of the Colosseum and do like naval warfare inside the Colosseum.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we can just hop into fun fact. I watch movies on Sundays, so because my memory isn't, I don't know, I forget a lot of stuff, so I'm gonna try to take more notes. I go to watch at 1 a.m. I see it's 2.5 hours, and I think, Luke, what the?
My bad, y'all.
It's not his fault because it's a good movie. Like if it was Cheeks, then I'd be like, dang, bro, this feels like 2.5 hours.
Joker 2.
Joker 2 didn't feel long. Pause.
All right, I'll give you that one. But anyway,
But yeah, let's start with the general thoughts. If I didn't say the movie's 2.5 hours long, so if you ever want to watch it, keep that in mind.
make sure you take some time out of your day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me, some of the standouts that I enjoyed were probably the most in the acting and the design of things, I would say, as the two most prominent things that I enjoyed.
Mhm.
Um, Russell Crowe and Joaquin Phoenix are easily standouts for me, but I think Joaquin Phoenix did better than Russell Crowe solely because Russell Crowe didn't wanna be there for, like, half of it.
Okay.
There's, like, behind the scenes stuff Cam and I were talking about where as the script, like, came up, like, Russell Crowe just hated it, didn't wanna do it, and eventually did, but, like, just didn't care for some of the dialogue, straight up told the scriptwriter,
Yeah.
he's like, "You write," and he was like,
But I'm
"Dr"
great, so I can make anything
yeah,
count.
and I was like, "Okay," but for Phoenix, I think, uh he was doing a good job, and there's one scene that's a little bit towards, like, the 3rd act of the film, I think, where he's screaming at, Connie Nielsen's, Lucille character or Lucia character, and, like, as he screams, you really, like, feel his vocal cords as they vibrate and, like, see the emotion behind his eyes
Mhm.
that he gives in his performance, which is surprising because he didn't think that he did that good of a job either, like, behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you think you could do better. He was young at the time, so he
Oh, yeah.
probably was like he didn't. And I think at his career for Phoenix, this was like his stepping stone to stardom. What was that? What's that called? Alliteration? Stepping stone to stardom.
Yes,
Oh,
I
okay,
think.
yeah. Let me not press that. But yeah, I think this, and he probably didn't think he did a good job because you're being put up against Russell Crowe,
Yeah.
probably like the best actor at the time. So, uh, but I think I thought the movie was good. It it's actually very good, and I really like the set design, like you mentioned
Mhm.
before, because I don't know if it's just me. I I I don't watch movies the same as I once did. Like I'm thinking about like a whole different
Explain, what do you mean?
like. Sometimes it's hard for me to just be immersed in the movie. Like I have like other questions and other thoughts while I'm
Alright, I can
watching it.
understand that.
Like for this movie, I'm thinking like, man, he has like so much B-roll, and I just wonder how much footage he got because he has so many establishing shots and like I'm thinking how many shots it took and how they got the casting done to have all those people in the Coliseum, not the real Coliseum
Mhm.
obviously, but like how they I don't think they act, I think they like AI, not AI, but like computer generate like the stands. Like I know the Coliseum was like a what do you call it?
Set?
Yeah, like it
Yeah,
obviously wasn't the real one, but I
yeah.
don't know, stuff like that. I just think of different stuff.
Would you like to know some more facts about that?
That took $1,000,000 to make.
It
It
was 50 something feet tall.
it was
They would fill the stands for
and
the Coliseum recreation.
yeah, it took
Trade
7 months to make.
and,
Oh,
like, I was kinda surprised how much just random things made it, like, into the cut, like,
like
the final cut that, like, you could just get away with.
like
Like,
what?
so, like, in the first battle where we are introduced to everything, and it's just immediately from the get-go a battle,
Yeah,
uh, Ridley Scott just straight up burnt a forest down. Like,
yeah,
in Britain where they were filming it, there was, like, a area of land that was gonna be marked for, like, deforestation, and Ridley was, like, getting to the time of filming that, and he was like, "I wonder if they would just let me, like, use it and burn it because 'cause they're gonna take it down anyway," and sure enough, they did.
yeah. I think that was a really cool fact. I don't know, it just I forget how not how big the world is, but I always think stuff is, like, filmed in lots in LA or
Yeah.
whatever, and I forget, like, oh, yeah, like Game of Thrones. Like, I don't think they filmed anything in North America. I mean, I'm pretty sure they did a little stuff, but, like, a lot of that stuff was filmed in Iceland and Greenland, and I just forget, like, oh, man, there's a whole world outside of, like, these major Hollywood production companies and just these random lots with everything you need, and I think that kinda goes with, kinda how great you can make a movie look, because if you're just dependent on everything you could be provided by, like, these major companies or whatever, then that kinda takes the feel out of
Mhm.
it. Even if you detect it or not, like, I can look at this like, "Oh, yeah, this was not filmed in America," and I don't know. That
I
was
think
just
that, like,
cool.
goes into, like, some of the practicality of it too, because there's another fight that a take that would typically end up in B-roll is in the final film, during the Titus fight where the tigers come out on
Yeah,
chains. They're real tigers
yeah,
on real chains, which is crazy in itself, but they were supposed to not be allowed to get any closer than 15 feet to Russell Crowe because that's the lead, but there was a miscalculation, So the tiger that swipes at him is like 2 feet away from him, and they leave it in the movie.
That's
And that's
cool.
like the final script, and it's cool. Like it's crazy.
Stuff like that is so dope because uh that's the authenticity part. Like in Prisoners, have you seen it?
I don't think.
It's whatever. It's like there's a part in it, or yeah, there's a part in it when I think Hugh Jackman like breaks his hand or something like that, or when it was something like that in The Wolf of Wall Street. I don't know, but like when something happens,
Yeah.
really, and they keep it in there just because it's so authentic. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. And I think it helps that like everything looks so real, especially in the costumes. I don't remember the exact number, but it's well over 100,000, I think.
100.
Maybe.
I might be wrong.
Oh,
I
I don't know.
10.
It's a lot is the point, but
I have 10,000 costumes were created, and over 30,000 pieces of armor were created, which I think is silly. Like this movie
is
has,
silly. What?
huh?
That's cool. What?
Yeah, not silly like in a oh, that's dumb, but like silly as in like yo, that's crazy.
Oh, okay.
But the budget for this film was $100 million, and I'm looking at it like, man, it. I think because we see what like you see Marvel movies. That's what I think 100
Right.
like off the default. But for 2000, that's hold on. How much is hold on? How much is $100 million worth in 2000?
How much is $100 million worth? I would say 100 million.
No, like inflation, like
Oh.
from 2000.
But no, like all the costumes with so many of them are, and it's not just for like the main characters too. It's like background characters, ones that are just casually walking around.
Yeah.
Some of them are dripped out. Like got that on.
Man, 100 million in 2000 is worth 183 million today. So 100, that's crazy. So nearly 200 million.
Yeah.
Gosh, do you think does it look like $100 million movie?
To me, I don't think it looks like a $200 million movie. I just think it looks like a good movie. I would
Okay.
say. Like I'm not thinking about like how much price went into it.
Okay.
But then I see stuff like I think the most recent example is probably Red One. It was like a Christmas movie that came out, and it has like an absurdly high budget.
Like 250.
And it looked like a Netflix movie, and it's like you
I'm,
guys did not need that much budget. Like
I'm pretty sure they pay like half that to The Rock.
probably.
And they had, I don't even want, oh,
Yeah, I know. But like that's what I'm saying. Like I don't think about the budget until like I notice it looks of a visibly bad quality, or I'm told the number, and then I look at the product after knowing the number, and I'm like, yeah, that tracks.
I don't normally either, but I only look at it right before we start recording, just to see how much was put into it. But there's a lot going on with the plot. There is, but there is. I feel like a lot happens, but we have a pretty concrete concrete plot. He's just really just trying to fight his way out, and um, with one of your I was thinking of you when I was putting this note. Like what was her? I feel like Lucille wasn't major in the film. The his sister.
Like what's his name? Commodus's sister?
Yeah.
She was, but wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But after seeing trailers for Gladiator 2, she's a little bit more important. But I don't know how much I can say about that yet because I don't want to like spoil things. And it's not a spoiler. It's in a trailer. If it's in a trailer, you're fine. But like,
She plays a major role in Gladiator 2.
I don't know about major role, but she comes back for it, and might as well just say whatever. But in Gladiator 2, it's following Lucius, the kid. That's Mario's kid.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's who Paul Mescal is playing. Is like an older Lucius.
Okay. No, I mean just in one. Like, did she play a major role in this film? Like, do you think it could be done without her?
On one hand, yes, because like in the grand scheme of things, does she really do a whole lot?
Mm-hmm.
Not really. But on the other hand, like during the whole third act's breakout kind of plan, like she's involved with that
Okay.
and kind of helps stage parts of it and leads to the fact that Commodus knows that Maximus is trying to break out,
Mm-hmm.
stop everything. So in that vein, she does, but like outside of that, not really. She's just kind of there.
I don't know. There was a lot of characters in this one. Was there a lot of characters? Yeah, a decent
I
amount.
think the characters that have focus and reason to be named are limited,
That's fair. Yeah.
but the fact that they all show up in massive groups makes it feel like there's a lot more.
Okay. I don't know. I was typing notes after. I'm like, man, she didn't. I feel like we could have did without her. Uh, but like you said, until like the last or which the third act,
Yeah.
when she really played a part. But yeah, what do you think about the plot as a whole?
I think it was relatively solid. It wasn't a lot of like clutter and unnecessary things happening. I mean, it's pretty clearly laid out that it's like he misses his family, he wants to go home, and strives for it, and then that's just it. Basically, he just
Okay.
goes for it. And I mean, there's a little bit of like a subplot with him and Lucilla, where like they're kind of like on and off talking about their past love. And it's like, was it anything important? And he was like, I want to see my wife. And it's like, I mean, I guess, I don't know. So like, for the most part, I think they stick to it. I think it's strong.
Okay.
They don't really waste your time with anything unnecessary, I feel.
That's what I like. That's what that was the first thing I wrote. I love how we get right into it because after I saw how long this movie was, I was like, dang, 2.5 hours. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a lot of ground to cover. So I'm glad we got straight to it. And how we start off with a beheading, not a beheading, but like someone riding in on a horse.
Yeah.
And their ass
Just decapitated, just casually.
and I'm like riding their ass straight to it. That's what I like. I'm already here. It's 1 in the morning.
We're seated. We're seated.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm with you for the next 2.5. But like you said, I do think the plot it wasn't too complex. I was nervous that's what it was gonna be, and I wasn't gonna be
Yeah.
able to not keep up, but it was already 1 in the morning, so I'm already kind of out of it. I don't know why I watch movies so late. No one had to talk about it. Oh, wait,
Watch our movies late.
I don't know why. I don't have. It's not that I don't have time on Sundays, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. Question kind of going off that. Like, plot, we both are in agreement that it's kind of straight to the point. It's a little simple.
Yepers.
Does the dialogue slow that down any for you?
No. It's kind of yeah. The dialogue isn't the best,
Right.
like the script writing, but it's not a distraction to anything because we have a good story and we have good fighting, and I put down it looks unique, but we can get to that later. What do you think about the dialogue?
I kind of said that it like gave it some flair,
Okay.
where to me it reminded me more of a grammatically updated and modernized version of like Shakespearean plays, like Julius Caesar, like some of the like words and the enunciation on things and the way that they speak in their sentences, like it gives off like a sophisticated, I don't want to say pretentious,
Mhm.
like type vibe, but it's a little bit
Like sassy?
not sassy, but not sassy, but like I don't know how to explain it. Like it gives it flair, it gives it personality. You're back in a time where people didn't speak the way that we do now,
Yeah.
but you modernize that dialogue and match it, and you get some like quotes that are overly simple, like really overly simple, but like
Yeah.
end up being iconic. Like I think the best one from Gladiator that's the most iconic arguably is "Are you not entertained?" And that like
Yeah.
on face value is like really simple. And then you put it in context of like the scene in the entire Coliseum erupts and they're cheering and screaming Maximus's name, like it's pretty cool.
I think it's because of the area that we're in. Like if you said that in a one-on-one conversation like we're having right now, like, are you not entertained? But if you're screaming at the top of your lungs, like you just kill a guy.
Yeah.
That not even kill a guy, he killed like
Killed a bunch of them.
yeah, I think he killed like 6 people in that
4 to 6, yeah.
something like that. One man versus 2 plus.
Which, to be fair, the people he's going against were really stupid to not charge him at once. They all just stood at his drink.
I was thinking that too. Like
I could chalk it up to them thinking that they were cocky about it and be like, what's this one prisoner of war gladiator gonna do
Right.
against all of us? And then he just slaughters them all.
all is nice, but why you not entertained? Man, they were going silly for us. I'd be entertained. Isn't that crazy? People used to pay and watch other people die.
Yeah. And even worse or better, depending on who you are, they enjoyed it too.
That's
It's crazy. It's wild.
man.
Like, could you imagine if that was, like, still a thing? That, like, if it wasn't, like, us just, like, talking about movies, it's like, "We're not gonna go to the cinema. We're gonna go to the Coliseum and watch them fight to the death." Like,
Yeah.
2 dudes talk war. Like, I don't know, dude. Yeah.
That sounds dope. Two dudes talk war.
That's crazy.
But I mean, the next best thing we got to is boxing.
Well, not the Mike Tyson fight.
Oh my, we're not.
We're not gonna talk about that, but it was basically just Netflix buffering and Mike Tyson's on the screen. There was nothing else.
Shout out to my boy Mark and the whole crew that watched it. That we watched it together. But specifically, shout out to Mark. Yeah, that was yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back to
Yeah, I think we have, like, mostly good to talk about it, but there were a couple things that I wasn't too, fond of.
talk to me, brother.
Uh, the first one is that, like, I don't wanna call it the frame rate, but that's, like, the best way that I can describe it.
Frame rate.
Yeah, so, like, if I'm moving my hand like
Oh.
this and it's fluid, that you've got, like, a higher flame rate, but if it's, like, 2, like, my hand's just jumping, like, back and forth.
Is that what's it called? Is that what's it called? Frame rate? I think so.
That's what I know it from, but
Oh,
from, like,
yeah.
gaming, so I don't know if, like, in video it's different, but as a gamer, that's the way that I can best describe it, is frame rate.
I know what you're talking about,
Yeah.
but yeah.
The film had, like, a random thing with frame rate where it would casually just slow down or, like, lower the frame rate, and it was usually, like, during battles, and I can understand that for, like, you wanna slow down for a second, like, make you pay attention to the action that's happening,
Mhm.
but then whenever we first see, Commodus, like, get out of the carriage and he takes his coat off, the frame rate slows down as his coat comes off, and then speeds back up, and I'm like, "Why did we slow that down?"
Should be.
Like,
I think that's a 2000s thing because I think in a lot of Denzel movies they do that.
perhaps.
Or like an early 90s or late 90s, early 2000s type thing. But I didn't notice that. What's up?
Speaking of, Denzel Washington is also in Gladiator 2, so
Man, he's so dope, bruh. I love Denzel.
but, yeah, like, the frame rate, like, I wasn't against it, but then, like, it was always happening at random times,
Mhm.
especially in the 1st and 2nd acts, and then barely showed up at all in the 3rd, and so I was like, "What's the point of even doing it then?"
Something else well, not something else, but like to go off of your point, something I didn't really. I'm kind of indecisive about it. Something with the I don't know if I want to call him flashback, but something with his wife and kid. Those kind of.
Oh, yeah, okay.
What do you want? How would we call that?
It's like the premonition vision thingy-mabobber?
Sure, yeah, we'll
Go
call
with
it that.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it. Like
Mm.
they were cool. Maybe it was overdone, even though it only happened like 5 times, maybe more or less.
Yeah, I can agree with that because, like, towards middle-ish, I think, of 2nd act, they start showing up, and then they show up a lot right after all each other, during the 3rd act as Maximus is, like, slowly dying.
Mhm.
So, was he just, like, casually dying this entire film? Or, like, did he just decide he's like, "I'm gonna give in now"?
I don't
I don't know.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
At first it confused me because I thought, when he first got captured and that they had like they had that thingamabobber, whatever you just call it.
Flashback
Yeah.
premonition thingamabobs?
Yeah, they had that, I thought that was gonna be like a time travel thing. Not a time travel, just like
Like a flashback?
yeah,
Just general flashback.
general flashback. But I realized they were dead and it was just him thinking about the one scene or that one part in their lives. But I didn't like it at first because I'm like, "Oh man, don't do this." Like, I don't know, just like it was fitting. But as the movie went on, I didn't mind it, but I was also kind of indecisive about it. But it also because it kind of looked weird. They have like a really weird color palette. It was like really weird blue, but it wasn't like
It's like a
cool.
grayish blue almost.
Yeah, like dingy. I guess that's the afterlife thing they were trying to talk about.
Yeah. It's like maybe that was, like, the point is, like, paint the afterlife as a cold, dark place, I guess. Maybe that was the effect they were going with?
Perhaps, but
I don't know. I agree with what you're saying where it's, like, so weird a little bit,
mhm.
but on one hand, I can kind of understand why it feels so weird because the script got changed so much with the ending, where, like, Scott kept telling, Crow and the scriptwriter, he was like, "I don't see how Maximus makes it out of this alive." Like, you gotta understand, like, he's going up against multiple gladiators, multiple people that should be stronger than him, and he just casually breezes through all of it. He's like, there's no way he would get out of this alive, and then sure enough, they change the ending and he dies. But like, maybe that's part of why that's there, and
I mean,
I couldn't tell you.
I read this film was in the making for like a decade.
I did see that too. Yeah,
It's kind
been
of
a while.
yeah. I don't working on the same thing for 10 years, not even to shoot it that long. That's impressive to me.
Makes me wonder too for Gladiator 2 because it's been what 24 years and now we're getting a sequel and like he said he had an idea for a third but he didn't think too much on it.
Who's this? Scott?
Yeah. So like I don't know if we're gonna get a trilogy, but
That'd be cute.
at the current moment I don't know if we need one yet because I haven't seen the second one by the time of this recording because it's Monday night for us. But maybe after the second one I'll be okay with the third. Maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe I should watch the second one. I already watched the first.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Oh man, I would love to. I haven't been to the movies in a long time, like a month.
Yeah. I am so ready for the end of the week because I got to go see Gladiator Thursday night, and then I'm watching Wicked Friday night, and then going on vacation.
Look at me. I'm Luke. My life is like awesome because I get to go.
Not what I meant. That is not what I meant.
Look at me. I get to go on vacation and watch movies all weekend.
No.
No, I'll break because I'm awesome.
It's not what I meant.
He's trying to stun on me. It's all good.
But I have another thing though.
Talk to me.
Fight scenes.
Yeppies.
Are they good or bad? What are you thinking?
They're not horrible.
All right.
Editing is definitely a boost in the way this looks because
Well,
what
explain.
you get a lot of cuts and angles and what.
All right.
Well, hold on.
Right.
It's not horrible, but yeah, it's not horrible. I'll say that.
Okay.
I was thinking of it while I was watching. Like, is this good? But then we've seen worse. Unfortunately, my goat. I love him so much, but he does the same like this Batman. He does like the same dip thing, and not just I don't know what the fuck he does, but yeah, it's not horrible.
Yeah, I wasn't fully against it as a fight scene. I was more against it of editing of said fight scene. Where
Oh.
the amount of cuts and stuff. I was having like a brain aneurysm trying to follow these things, dude.
That's why it doesn't look that bad because we don't really see anything.
Yeah, and it's like on one scene, like you could have two people standing in front of like the wall, and then the next second he's sprawled out on the floor, and I'm like, how did he get there? Like, did we miss something?
I remember there's one fight where he just swings. I don't think you see what he swings at, but you see someone's head gets knocked off like the next scene, or it's. Or if that made sense. Sorry.
No, it does.
But yeah.
No, and that's something that like in the movie too, in one of the fight scenes, one of the more like iconic fight moves out of this is when he has both the swords and he swings them. I just hit the mic, but he swings them both like this, and it'll cut someone's head off. But whenever the blades hit his neck, it cuts, and you don't see the head fall. You just see that he lowers his arms, and I'm like, okay. And the same move shows up in the Gladiator 2 trailer, but the trailer cuts at the same moment. So I swear to God, if I watch the second movie and they do the same thing twice, I'm gonna lose it. I will crash out in the theater.
If you like crash out of the theater, pretty sure gonna be like teenagers there. Are you going by yourself?
Probably. I go to movies by myself most of the time.
That's hot.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, I don't know. The editing just did not vibe with it. Like it was so hard to track that. I'm hoping some of the fight scenes for the second one are a little more smooth.
yeah.
We'll have to see, I guess.
Check it
But
out.
yeah, I can give it credit for not being the Rise of Skywalker's choreography though. Episode 9 of Star Wars, there's a fight scene at the end. There's a bunch of Praetorian guards that are like in a circle around Rey, right? And she's got a lightsaber, just one. She's batting these blaster bolts. You see a clip of one dude, right, that gets shot in the chest and falls over, and it cuts, and he's magically standing back up again and still firing. And then like there's a moment where like she's just like swinging the blade, visibly slashes someone in half and knocks them off the edge, and then it cuts to a wide shot and they're all just standing in the circle shooting again.
And it's the show or the movie?
The movie.
Which movie?
Star Wars Episode 9.
Okay.
Yeah, not good. None of the sequels. But and then it like cuts to Kylo Ren too doing the same thing, kind of. and there's like a moment where like he spins his lightsaber like this and like bends over and blocks, and no one shoots at him, and he just stands there. And then it goes back to shooting again. It's like the goofiest fight choreography ever.
I wish I got this. I don't watch.
I will show you a video after. It is so poorly like edited,
Uh,
but at least Gladiator's not that.
um, music. It's
Yeah.
done by one of the best composers of our time for film. I don't know. I don't know a lot of composers, but the go-to, the standard, Hans Zimmer.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there wasn't like a standout song in this.
No, there wasn't.
And usually with anything, he puts his tone, his art, music, ears to skills, whatever. There's always something. I have a song from a cartoon movie which I've never seen. That's on my phone from him, but there wasn't anything too outstanding. I wonder.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like for me with the music, it was more just not there wasn't anything that really stuck with me. It was more either just general background stuff or it was mostly kind of symphonious, if that's even a word, where it's just like highlighting and dramatizing the amount of power and triumph like the Roman Empire has, like especially in the beginning fight, like the very first scene of the movie where that whole fight's happening and you're getting all of these like I think it's strings and brass mostly, I might be wrong. And it's kind of like emphasizing like, yeah, this is the Romans, we're strong, we're amazing warriors, and that's about it. Like I didn't have anything else that really stuck out to me with it.
I'm looking up. I don't think there's really a theme. I think that's what it is.
Maybe I thought most movies usually have one that like defines the movie, but they aren't like explicitly named.
Theme.
Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not seeing one.
Maybe there isn't one.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't bad music, but usually, you can hear something, like you can hear a theme like The Dark Knight, and you know that's The Dark Knight, or you'll hear Interstellar, and know
My
that.
goat.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Interstellar, Oppenheimer, the Batman, all the goats, and Dark Knight. But
You know it's Dark Knight Rises.
I've seen all of them.
Oh yeah. I think that's all I have. Do you have anything else, sir?
No, I think that's all that I've got. If you think we're good to go on to some ratings.
I like how quickly we understand Phoenix's character. I didn't put that down. Like how,
Yeah, like his motives.
yeah,
Yeah, they're pretty like clearly defined.
yeah, kills his dad.
Yeah.
Like
In a goofy manner, though, I find it hard to believe that they suffocated that man in a coat. But like,
yeah,
I don't know. But
yeah. I'm glad we know though from the jump he is bad. And he didn't have like this character arc where it wouldn't have been bad if he did, but we know like we have a clear protagonist, we have a clear antagonist,
and they didn't do the misunderstood villain trope.
Yes,
Thank you.
we
There's
know
so many of those.
Yeah, we know your cheeks. We know you're a bad person. There's no
redeeming qualities for him throughout the film. He's just straight up a bad guy.
and he gets what he deserves by the end of it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Russell Crowe's character does as well, but it's not bad.
Yeah,
It could
pretty
be
good.
different, I guess. But yeah, let's do ratings. How are we feeling?
All right, I'm thinking I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 for me.
4 of 5.
I found the acting, the dialogue, and costumes stuff to be the bulk of what carried the positives for me, but then some of the editing and the way the fight choreography worked out, I wasn't as much of a fan of. Not that the fight and editing is bad, it's just giving me like a little bit of a seizure and a headache trying to follow it.
Okay, I think I'm also gonna give it a 4 out of 5. Little long. Movies aren't. I'm not. I don't know. I just feel like a little bit could have been cut off.
Right.
It's like you said, the editing thing, and like the whole flashback and Lucille. Is it Lucille or Lucilla?
Lucilla, but
Lucilla,
I
yeah.
keep like mispronouncing it.
Okay. Her character didn't seem to make a big impact, even though she wasn't like a main character. She could have been like kicked off. I don't know. You got me thinking differently about like how characters or like the importance of each role.
Yeah.
And yeah. think that's it for the most part. Like it's a really well made movie. Like the whole atmosphere, that's super cool and impressive with like anything to I think just having an idea to even try something that big and it looks super realistic. Like if
Yeah.
you weren't even into movies or anything, you think that was a real Coliseum. Or you'll think like, oh man, how'd that happen? How do you be able to do all that? Uh,
And I hope that's something the second one does too. I'm hoping that you kind of keep that realism with it, where
uh,
it's not that you can point out and be like, that's CGI. You can be like, that looks like they just grabbed a rhino out of the
yeah,
movie. Like,
but yeah, that was good.
yeah.
Yeah, it's been you see how calm and easy it gets when we don't have a guest. You get straight, concise to the point.
Or kind of like Gladiator, some could say.
Kind of like Gladiator, some could say. Nonetheless, though, thank you guys for watching. It has been another episode of Two Dudes Talk Movies. We will not have an episode next week for Thanksgiving. We'll be back in 2 weeks, though. Yeah, hope you guys enjoy your eats. Put it down in the comments if you made it this far. What's your favorite Thanksgiving meal?
And what you're thankful for.
And what you're thankful for. If you're thankful for the two dudes every Friday, put it down. I don't know. I don't know. Do it. But yeah, thank you for watching. It's been Two Dudes Talk Movies podcast. I'm Cam.
I'm Luke.
And we will see you in 2 weeks. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.
Peace.